Peace and blessings, y'all. This is your boy Gerald. It is. You're on the backside of your weekend, the 30th of January, 2016. How is each and every one of y'all doing? So it's bright and early, y'all. Some of you are waking up from festivities you may have had the night before, or you may be just in the midst of starting your morning and you are looking back at the week that you just brought to a close. Now's the time that you are starting to become comfortable in your own skin. I encourage you to embrace you. So how is everybody doing, y'all? The weather's trying to find a balance now. We are embracing the sun's presence and it's been acting a little moderate. However, we're not out of the woods yet. So some of y'all might be dealing with the remnants of the weather's ability to fluctuate. And that's why it's very important that you make sure that your immune system is on point. Some of you have made a conscious decision that this is going to be the moment that you are going to take stock of your health. You're going to start to have a firm placement on the things you need. You're saying to yourself, well, I might like to enjoy to dabble in this, but my body is screaming, I need that. I know I'm talking to someone. Yes, I too am dealing with the remnants of the bug. But that's okay because, see, we were already made perfect the moment that we took our first breath. And in the midst of that, our legacy was written by the Most High. The journey began as we began to grow. All the things that was needed for us to navigate our lives were put on display through free will. Now, I believe some of us are having the courage to go back in, to start the process to unlearn the things that were means of exposure because of the environment that they may have found false safety in. I believe now that some of us are starting to go a little deeper and we're starting to unwind the things that had us tied. So how's everybody doing, y'all? Gearing up for a brand new week, a new experience, a new understanding called you. If you haven't done it yet, I highly recommend that you tell the most important person that you'll ever come to know. We're talking about yourself. You love you because you matter. If you're in a place emotionally that you feel that you don't matter, let me tell you something. You do. Because, see, your spirit relies on the things you do, your actions you take, and the energies of that actions will have a impact unforeseen but revealed at the right time. It's very important that you calculate the things you are willing to let go. So if it's your representation of who you are, why would it not mean it's in the best light? But see, there's a battle going on. It's always been a battle spiritually. And with that comes challenges. And there are going to be those that are banking to keep you numb, to keep you in that comatose state of mind where your vitality is wagered by your financial success. Let me tell you something. Because God loves you so much, you're going to start to see things manifest unlike any before. But so with that being said, don't be surprised when you start scratching your head. Just take in the wonder. Because I believe we are now in a state where those who were last are going to be made first. And those who are first are going to be made last. This is the natural balance. It has to play out this way because, see, even though he loves us, even though he assigns his angels and spirit guides to protect us, even from ourselves, he's the only one other than the devil that knows you. It is our responsibility, because it's called our life, to figure it out, to understand what it means and the value that comes with it. So you cannot allow things to sway you. I know right now someone's sitting down, you've got a life decision, so you think. But when you take a step back, you'll see that it's only just a challenge or a means placed before you to choose. See, you already know that the two greatest gifts God ever gave you was to unconditionally love yourself. So to unconditionally love yourself, that means there's a requirement that you are healthy, you are viable, you are aware. These are derivatives, the derivatives of you. Energy out is energy returned. So there are things that will be revealed indirectly so that you can get it. Unfortunately, there are going to be things that are going to be brought to your attention that are going to play out. But the impact will be so that you feel it within. That is your insight. How you decide to embrace it will become your wisdom. You already know what doesn't work. So why won't you be honest with yourself and embrace what you need? You need to be happy. You need to grow. You need to be transparent. You need to love yourself. And you need to define your legacy. See, for some reason, we all start out the same way. But somehow, due to life choices, impact, and expression, the delay process starts. Some of us have to deal with challenges that may have been spawned from our childhood. Some may have to deal with it in our adolescence or in our adulthood. See, these are all things that cannot be prevented. But if you allow your environment, you allow your emotional, uh, if you allow your emotions to not be balanced, the things that you may need may be right in front of you, but you're unable to understand. But I'm a firm believer of this, y'all. Anything that's ordained by God with your name in it, name on it, it's going to come to pass. So with that being said, you know that there are going to be some people in your life that don't want that to occur. There are going to be people in your life, even from your childhood, that looked upon you and said, that one right there is special. And the presence of the love that's found in you was so tremendous. The fix was already in. That's right. Demons exist, y'all. For some reason, society wants to take a blind eye on the darkness. They want to have a love affair with the unknown, but they don't want to accept the full price when it comes to dance with that. The devil's a liar, y'all. So what makes you think that he doesn't want to destroy your life? He has to destroy your life to get your soul. So you do him a favor when you don't invest in you. I know I'm talking to someone. You are waking up to the reality that you have been doing time in your mind. And you've been running. You've been running for so long because that's all you know how to do. And when it gets too transparent, just like a snake, you shed the skin and you start anew, hoping that the skin or the connections of that skin does not follow you. But you fail to realize that skin is made up of your spiritual essence. So it doesn't matter how many times you try to transform, shift, change, reinvent, or renew. It's still you. There'll never be another you. Why? Because you were made perfect. So therefore, it's the devil's job to bring people in your lives to convince you you're not good enough. It's the devil's job to allow that demon's assignment to convince you that that beautiful mind is not aware. It's that devil's job to convince those spirits to keep you up late at night. I know I'm talking to someone. Your solution is not found at the end of that bottle. That solution will never be found in that high. That solution will never be found in that sexual release, but death. I know somebody saying, Gerald, you just being too grim. I'm not. Because see, what's at stake is your life. And that's worth fighting for. But I can't do your work. You must make a conscious decision to live or die. Now, granted, the devil and, of course, the Most High, our Lord, our God, is the only one that knows the time and moment when you cease to exist. So it's your responsibility to grab every moment given, even if it requires you to be still. We live in such a technological world nowadays, but yet we make a point to dumb down our mindset. Why is that? So we can fit in, or is it by choice so we don't have to do the work? We live in a society where I know in the black community, we known it as shucking and jiving, or cooning, or tomfoolery. We had these descriptive words placed on our culture, but now there is no color line, there is no gender, because it is now an accepted position. It was all good when we, in our own culture, were the originators of so many things the world has come to embrace. But now we have a problem now because now we have Marsha Brady on YouTube and she's got more twerk videos than Charlene. But the problem is, where's the dignity in all that? You know, I'm the first one to tell you, there's no greater sight as a human being, as a man, to gaze upon a woman. Woman was the greatest gift man could ever be bestowed. That is why Eve came from the rib of Adam, and Adam was created in the image of God. But we've gotten so beside ourselves. We've allowed our fears and our egos to misguide our steps. We deliberately buck our emotional state just because it's convenient, only to cry in silence and alone. If you're going through depression right now, that's a willful choice because you need to step out your comfort zone and make a declaration that you deserve to be happy. If you are turning around and allowing the people in your circle to convince you that your smile is not supposed to be on your face, you are willfully allowing someone to rob you of your life. I know I'm talking to someone. So, those who are last will be first, and those who are first will be last. This is about spiritual balance, y'all. That's why you hear, you reap what you sow. That's why you hear what's done in the dark comes to the light. That's why you hear what goes around comes around. Why? Because balance must be placed rightfully. So, with that being said, God gets tired. And now people are waking up with clarity of understanding that the choices they made were choices not in their best interest. And the fright, the kept woman is starting to realize that she is not kept, but she's a prisoner. First in her mind, second in her body. And now she's terrified. That is why it's always said, what glitters, it's not always gold. But what is golden is your heart. What's golden is your spirit. What is golden is your legacy. And what is required is for you to claim you. I know I'm talking to someone. Why are you carrying someone else's burdens when you can't fix it? That's what free will is about. Why are you putting your 2 cents in something that doesn't belong to you? I know I'm talking to someone. Energy out is energy returned. How are you going to turn around and say your yard needs to be cut and you got bushes in yours? I know I'm talking to someone. I'll tell you why. Because it's easier to point the finger when you ignore the four that are looking back at yourself. So balance is being restored. It has to. But what is not required is to have a vengeful spirit, a malicious intent, an agenda that is covert. When you choose to have these positions, the price paid is far more than you could ever imagine. So what happens? God gets tired. He gets out of your way and he looks at you with love and mercy and says, hey, I've warned you time and time again, this is not what you need. This is a choice of what you wanted. And since you want it so bad, I'm going to let you have it. He gets out your way and the suffrage begins. And this is what we know as the storm. Yes, many of us have been in that spiritual storm when the waves of emotion knock us to and fro. The skies seem gray, even though the sun's out. And the understanding that is found within ourselves is brought into question. It is your spiritual storm. I say to you, if this is where you are right now, you're going to be okay. The waves will eventually climb, but they cannot occur until you are still. Do you understand that? You can't run from yourself anymore, no matter how hard you try. The real you wants to be heard. That is why you have those sleepless nights. That is why your mind continues to run. That is why you hear those voices inside your head. The voices in your head are very simple. That's that little boy or little girl inside of you saying, it is now time that you claim me. It is now time that you love me for who I am. It is now time that I speak my truth. And it is now time that I ground my feet. I say to you now to embrace it. Take hold to what you see around you. Take acknowledgement on the things you don't. Because when everybody falls, guess what happens? The things you don't need will be broken from you. You will start to have harmony and peace within yourself. So the trade-off for that is very simple. Every emotion that you did not embrace, you will get to know. You will see who you really are. You will see the strength that you possess. You will see the intelligence that you were given. And in that storm, you will also have answers that were questions that you once at one time spoke, maybe in silence or maybe in communion. Those answers are coming. Those actions will be revealed because these are all extensions of you. Now the downside is this. You're going to be a little pissed off because as you are in this process, you're going to see and hear things that you may not have been aware of. And this is truth. But just know, in the midst of this storm, your angels, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Shemiel, Raquel, Metatron, and many, many, many more, honoring the seraphim, your your spiritual spirit guide, those who have transitioned to the other side that at one time had earned the right to get to know you and love you unconditionally. Just know they're there. watching, patient, protecting, unconditional. They're there. But they're but what else is there, I must warn you, is that fear. Because in the darkness, the actions, the decisions, the impulse desires will be brought up for review. And you are in the crossroads. Don't be afraid of it. Embrace it. Because when the process is over, if you hear anything that I've just conveyed, you will be made new. And you deserve it. Oh, yes. I know some of you right now are making the decision to go it alone. You're saying to yourself, Gerald, I don't know what possessed me to make a choice to walk this path with them, but I see and understand the truth. And the truth was they did not have my best interest. And they were robbing me of me. And now it's time that that little boy and little girl gets back home. See, that's what we're talking about, y'all. Home is within you. Because see, when you took your first breath, your legacy was written and you were made perfect. I know there's a queen right now, you are tired of being tired, and you look every time you look in the mirror, you're starting not to recognize yourself. And at first you probably said to yourself, is it because I'm gaining weight, or you don't recognize yourself in the mirror anymore? And you're going through a spiral of reinvention. Well, I look at it as re-inventory. You're taking away the things that are false now. And as you wipe away the things that were distractors, you're realizing how beautiful you were all along. And you feel a little disappointed because the awareness that is coming from this experience is requiring you to purge the things that respond with doubt, the behaviors that came from not knowing the real you. And you're starting to connect the dots with the associations, the connections, the experiences, the stolen moments, the portrayals. You're starting to see as you wipe these distractors away, you're purging. But what you can't ignore is that heart, that beautiful heart. You're looking at that canvas known as your skin, and you're seeing the ink work. I know I'm talking to somebody. And you're saying to yourself, each one has a story. Each one has a regret. Each one, you realize now, was a willful block. And you're saying to yourself, I don't know who I've become, but the person looking back at me is not going to have my life. And the little girl and little boy inside you right now is smiling. That is the one thing that some of you may be longing for was oh so long. And that was that beautiful smile. Smile so beautiful you could stop traffic because it's like looking at the sun. And now you're ready to go into that emotional backpack. You're ready to dump that out and look at where it all began. You're ready to start and take accountability for each and every experience, you're ready. And you're having the courage to start anew. You've already realized the price in that. And the price is you have to take a step back. You're going to have to let some go. You're going to have to sever ties if you want that smile to return. And I commend you for that, because everybody can change. It's your choice to live in your misery. So therefore, it's still your choice to do something about it. But the only way you can do something about it is you must be transparent. So, you see the correlation there? There's only one you. You're priceless. That's why when I say invitation gets you nowhere, and faking to make it only delays your steps. Because there'll never be another you. But because we don't know who we are, we latch on the first bus going somewhere, to come to find out it's out of service. I know I'm talking to someone. You scratching your head, laying in a bed that's cold. But the ironic part is you don't sleep alone, but it's still cold. Because that bed has no love in it, and it's cold. And you're in a place now that you can't do it no more because it's cold. And I say that figuratively because you know that there's something missing. You know that you have to make a conscious decision to turn a blind eye, condone the status quo, and not rock the boat, or claim your life, stand up and ground your feet, and walk back to you. It's a willful choice. So the real question should be asked is this: how much is your life worth? Or is your life priceless? Because see, if you ask the average person, they'll tell you right off the bat, their life is not worth a six-piece chicken and a biscuit, because they don't see their own potential. Your dreams, your accolades, your reality all starts within yourself. It's that beautiful spirit. You can't go into a store and buy hope. You can't rub elbows and expect your dreams to become reality. No, these are all things that are required actions from you. That's why you hear. What you put in is what you get out. But I really believe, some of you are awakening and it's got you shook. Your heart, mind, and spirit are at one, and your dreams are becoming lucid, and you're starting to be afraid. I say to you on that note, don't be. Embrace it. But just like every crossroads, you have one step and you have two paths, and you have to make a rightful choice compared to what you need, compared to what you want. But if you don't know you, you won't know where you're going. If you don't know what you need, you won't understand your purpose. If you don't know you, you will not understand what is going on in your environment. It's kind of like going to the circus and you step into the big top and you're looking around all and all. But everything's contained under that. But the reality is there's another world outside that tent. That tent can be represented as your emotional self. Well, if what's going on inside does not match what's going on outside, don't you think it's your responsibility to make sure that they both are aligned? I know I'm talking to someone. Now's the time that you stop running from yourself. Now's the time you start listening to those in the cheap seats and start listening to your spirit. Get back in touch with that little boy and little girl that's found inside you. Don't you realize your best friend is you? See, if you don't love you, you will never love anyone. But the contrary is the people you come in contact, guess what? They will never love you either because see, they don't know themselves. They're just going through the motions. I know I'm talking to someone. You dealing with some illnesses now. Your body ain't working like it used to. And you're allowing the bitterness to consume your emotional state. You'll come to understand that is your health is a derivative of your state of mind. So instead of having the assertive position to fend off those who may genuinely care for you. See, you've been throwing a good ruse trying to convince everybody that you got it going on and got it together, but we all know that you're fragile like a leaf found in winter. And now that temple is being tested. You're starting to wake up with aches and pains you never felt before. You're starting to have migraines every time you take in a breath. You don't understand what's going on. Let me tell you what's going on. It's your state of mind. Because you can't run no more. So it's time for you to take them track shoes off and ground your feet. It's now time that you give yourself permission to heal. But see, I know someone's listening to this right now and they saying this. You don't know me. You don't know what I've been through. And frankly, it's none of your business. And you know what? You're right. It isn't my business. But I know this. As long as you breathe, as long as that precious heart beats, you deserve to be happy. I know I'm talking to someone. It's not by chance. The more and more that you associate yourself with them, your finances are taking a beating. The things that you want to do always fall short. Why? Those are spiritual signatures to let you know that ain't the way to go. But see, you keep running with that circle. The ironic part is they know. You are the entertainment. And they know you will be cast aside like all the rest. Because, see, you have this mindset that as long as you fake it, play the parrot, play the role, you'll be accepted. But your audience look at you as the new fool. I know I'm talking to someone. It doesn't matter what you do behind closed doors, how vibrant you try to come off. Let's just back that up. If you are willfully engaging in whatever you choose to be, I don't care if it is making a pitcher of Kool-Aid. If you're not supposed to be involved in that moment, it's not going to be sweet. So why are you doing things over the top? Do you think that that's going to prove your loyalty? Or is that going to facilitate your disgrace? I know I'm talking to someone. So now, you're a little shook now, King, ain't you? Because when you look in the mirror, you can't explain those bruises. When you look, you see in discolorations where they should not be. And you're worried. And you're wondering why you're seeing sores and bumps, but yet you will not allow your pride to put to the side to go get the rightful medical attention. You come to see that you have contracted a bacteria from a behavior you should have. You already know you shouldn't have done that when the first hello was made. But because you had to feed your ego, you went there. You're seeing the derivatives of that choice. And that choice will have a reminder later on how blessed you are if you decide to get back to you. What about those dreams you have? What about that creativity you were given? People have told you how smart you are, the gifts you naturally possess, but yet the world needs to see and hear this. You take it upon yourself to ignore it. Do you not realize the moment that you decide to tap into you, it will take you further than anything that you could ever imagine? Why? It's because you're blessed. We're all blessed, but we're all flawed. So what's at stake is your story, your legacy, because we are only here to fulfill the promise. And the promise is our purpose. Each one, teach one. But the first student is yourself, because the student you are is for your life. It's your journey. It's your experiences. So who told you when the disappointments come, to not stop, to not take note and assess what and why and how it occurred. When you decide to do that, that's what is meant to stand. See, when you stand, you have firm placement beneath you. You're in a place of reflection. That's when the insight comes. That's when the wisdom is forged. And that's when the direction is given. I know I'm talking to someone. There'll never be another you. So are you tired? You tired of looking at life through the reality that you see it? Why don't you do something about it? See, a lot of people don't realize that you, some of you are chosen to be the matriarch of your family. Don't even realize it. And you're saying, well, Gerald, how's that possible? I'm a teenager, and you know, my elders are there, and everybody's got that crazy uncle that and we all do, that crazy auntie, we do. But you'll come to realize that the way that you see the world is unlike any other, and your environment, they've convinced you that no, you're just crazy, you know. But little do you know, they wait at bated breath to see what you're going to do. They're watching you. Oh yeah, even your enemies. And you should not walk on this planet with enemies, but I like to believe that's the case because lack of communication, lack of investment, and a lack of spiritual guidance. Because that's free will. If you're going to sleep in fear, waking up in turmoil, guess what? You have to make a conscious decision to do something else. And I believe when you actually make a conscious decision to say, you know what, this is the day. It won't be one of those marching band moments where, they got the banners out. Look, you made a choice. No, this will be signed across your heart. This will be a declaration that will be fulfilled by God because God will smile on you and favor will return and your life will start to flow. And guess what? You'll be at peace. And I think that's what some of you secretly desire. I know there's someone right now from the outside. You're the person that got it going on. Everything that you want, you have at your fingertips. You are the envy of your friends. Unfortunately, they're not your friends. And covertly, they're just waiting for you to figure you out so they can get you out of the way because what they really desire is your position. And you know that because you listened to some of the advice that was given, because you willfully tell them your business. And they turn around and make a playbook on how to bring your honor down. And you see this, but there's still a loyalty there. And that's the problem. Some of you have love affairs with your betrayers, with your abuser. with the person that maybe the one block that's keeping you from you. This could be your family. This could be that lifelong friend. But I say this to each and every one of you. Advice is exactly what it is. It matters not unless you embrace it. But if God is not in the mix of it, it is not blessed. So therefore, it is nothing but smoke, mirrors, covertly placed for you to be ensnared in. So it's very important that you love yourself. See, you won't be able to tap into that inner strength until you're able to go within yourself. That's why I conveyed in the last video. If you cannot go in your bathroom, do it when you get out of the shower. You look in that mirror and you look at yourself from head to toe, and then you tell yourself, I love you. If you can't do that for yourself, that is a direct correlation of what your relationships are based off of. If you can't give yourself the moment to be compassionate to yourself, your relationships are exactly what they are, stolen. And I think some of y'all are going through that reality check because you realize how you got there. You realize now, my mate don't love me because he don't love himself. My mate is selfish because I'm selfish. My mate is untrustworthy because I am untrustworthy. And you don't like that truth because, see, energy out is energy return. That is why women have such a love affair and bad boys. Root word, bad. Secondary, boy. But you convince yourself, oh, I can change him. He got potential. Only potential you'll ever have possession of is the potential found in yourself. But at what price? You're not for sale, y'all. Because you got a wedding ring doesn't mean it's forever. If God ain't in it, it's blessed. It's not blessed, excuse me. You're just going through the motions. And eventually, until you're able to be honest with yourself, just like the ripples found when someone drops a penny in a fountain, you are the source. And it will constantly get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. But eventually, that energy will come back because we're talking cause and effect now. The cause should be seeing your worth. The effect should be loving you. But if you put your self-worth and base it on your environment, you're dying slow. And a lot of people are starting to wake up now and they're seeing it because we live in an era now more and more. People are getting sick. People are dying, dropping like flies. People are suffering from mental illness. You know why people suffer from mental illness? It's because they don't want to be transparent with themselves to identify that something is wrong. They don't have the courage to get the needed help. How about the truth? That's why truth is like a double-edged sword. It cuts. It has to. Because what's at stake is you. Don't you think you're worth it? But see, I know that some people say, well, Gerald, he's handsome. He's responsible. I just couldn't pass him by. But he puts his hands on you. He beats on you like a man, only to shut you up with a trinket. Come on now. Come on now. And you know what's sad about it is the same games you played is the same games they're playing on you. And they've convinced everybody that knows you. They're not the problem. It's you. But they can't get past the wanderlust of what this person brings to the table. They allow their ego and pride to convince them that bad behavior is acceptable. I know I'm talking to someone. You think that's supposed to be your walk? If you do, go ahead and pull that slab out, pick out that suit, pull out that dress, because if you stay on that road, you ain't got to worry about it, because they're going to take your life. They're going to take your life. Because if you have somebody in your life and you're dealing with domestic abuse, let me tell you something. Love don't hurt. That's right. It don't hurt. Same goes for you, Queen. You learned the behaviors because you saw your mother go through it. So you say, well, you know what? I'm not going to let someone have the last word. I'm not going to let someone just walk away. Don't you realize you're flirting with death? And guess who's sitting in the cut while all this goes down? The devil does. Because you got demons all up in there. And he smiles because he knows he's about to destroy a family. He's saying to you, you my property. I built this. Okay. Maybe that is the truth. But if God ain't in it, it can't be sustained. I know I'm talking to someone. You let your friends convince you to put a price tag on your sexuality. And you think dating is about control. You actually think condonable, if I give you this, you're supposed to give me that. And they play their part. But what you don't get is their heart. What you don't get is their respect. What you don't get is the value of your self-worth protected. See, any fool can have possessions, but the blessed inherited all. See, that's why I keep trying to tell you, my queens, stop looking for your mate. Stop emulating what you see on TV, because that ain't nothing but the Jezebel spirit playing out on the screen. And I don't wish nothing bad on anybody, but one by one, you're going to watch each and every one of them fall. That's why they drink so much. You might see the correlation. When you start looking at them shows, you start emulating what they did. You see them drinking, you drinking. You see them being promiscuous, so you sleeping around, playing Russian roulette with your organs. See, it's not going to be them that's going to have to put their legs in that stirrup because you done gotten a cyst. You got some fluid leaking that shouldn't be there. But see, you keep listening to them, they're going to keep lying to you and say, well, you know what? That's the spice of life. You don't even know his middle name, but yet he knows what you are inside. You don't even know where she comes from, but yet you don't even wear protection. I'm not going to sit up here and babble. What's at stake is your life. If you don't value it, your circle won't. But what do, Queens? You got your girlfriends saying that's why you need to be with an older man. Because you mess with these young guys, the money ain't right, the mind ain't right. And what do? You go on over there to get your rectum toe out, to deal with the shame that come with it. But yet there's no commitment. Why? Because he got a pension? Because he got a 401k? Let me throw this in your pipe so you can smoke it. If he had it so together, why doesn't he have someone his age? I know I'm talking to someone, but I do one better. Because social media now is, you turn around now, you got little Cindy from Iowa with her backside out in front of a webcam. And the funny thing about it is, you have women in the black community up in arms. Oh, who do they think they are? They stole that from us. So let me get this. You raffle your self-worth over the internet, and you wonder why you didn't get that job. I know I'm talking to someone. Don't you realize when you indulge in behavior such as that, you will never attract the one? You only attract Johns. And what do Johns attract? What do they go for? Prostitutes, hoes. You're not a hoe. You're a queen that don't know yourself. So you convince yourself, you say, well, I'm sexually liberated, Gerald. Men do it all the time. But guess what? The average man will never have your heart. The average man should not hear you breathe. So the average man should not have the ability or the option to open your legs. And it's kind of funny, figuratively, because I see the trend. I didn't understand it at first, but I got it. See, society paints a picture for every little girl and little boy in those storybooks. For the little boy, he's going to be an athlete, a scientist, or even the president. For the little girl, she is groomed to be a mother, to be treasured, and told that her prince will come to rescue her and whisk her away to his castle. That's why when you look at the toys, look a little deeper. The little girl's toys are always domesticated. The little boy's toys are either themed for the military or blue collar, because you can never have too many construction workers, right? And the path begins. But somewhere along the way, things that should have been instilled was not. Perhaps maybe because father was a little boy still, did not know who he was. So he was exhibiting behaviors of a person that age, or a young mother that silently had resentment because she saw her excuse me, she saw her peers excuse me, she saw her fellow peers her age having fun, going to the mall, just being girls, in a position now to embrace early motherhood. So the resentment begins. And depending on that village, we know as family, the impressions are made. This is what makes the psyche of that child. And if it's not fostered and molded, that will be the future man and woman that will be a part of our society. So now we're living in an environment spanning these last 30 years where monogamy is frowned upon and cunningness is embraced. And you have women now that have said, you know what? Instead of investing in myself and being that flower to be chosen by the right one, I can't beat them, so I might as well join them. Willfully placing danger of the unknown aside. Those petals become tested, swayed and tossed and spat upon and disrespected. The fragrance that naturally would come from the flower starts to wane. The stem, which is known as the body, is not whole because it has now been contaminated by the first person to stumble on their path. I get it. I understand. And for that, I'm here to tell you there's something about it. You might be wrestling with the fact that the knowledge that you know now, you wish you knew then. Stop beating yourself up. Stop beating yourself up. If you got it, embrace it, claim it, define it, And when you do, you'll start to live your life. Because you got 5 kids don't mean your life ends. That means you just got to work a little harder and hold on to your dreams a little longer. Because you made a choice and you had to go away. That doesn't mean your life ends. It means you got to dig a little deeper and never let go of those dreams. But you see, for some reason, people think that, well, I got these 2 strikes, Gerald, and this is all I'm going to be. Who said? Who told you that? He's saying, you might be one of those people like, well, Gerald, I got these kids. I love them, but I hate their mother with a passion. You don't hate her. You just don't understand who she is. And she don't understand you. But guess what? God still loves you enough to bring y'all together to fulfill a promise, and it's called your kids. And here's the ironic part about it, too. You mad every time there's a new Joe that comes around. It terrifies you, but pisses you off in the same breath. Can't you see what's going on? What's required is for you to invest in yourself, to prepare. Because there's going to come a time when the clock stops and those beautiful babies are going to look at you to do your part. Don't run away from that. Because when you choose to run away from that, you run away from yourself. Right now, you might not have a relationship with your children. You know why? Because they mad at you. You know why they mad at you? Because they need mama or they need daddy. You can't fault them if the only time they see mama around is because she got a new friend. Mom spend more time in her social life than she do wondering what's going on in little Junior's life. Or they see daddy, who is the rock, and he won't get up. He won't dust himself off. Some of y'all might not even realize your babies silently are waiting for you to rescue them from the reality that they live in. I'll clarify it. My king, she's not crazy. She's depressed. Her behaviors are that way because it's convenient. She knows you have hang-ups and you know she got hang-ups. That's why you're able to push each other's buttons. But the button that's getting pushed the most doesn't have your name. And she knows this. Let me tell you something. She had a life before she had you. And you had a life before you had her. It is your responsibility as a parent to have common ground. Because see, none of that's going to matter when it comes to your babies. They don't care about that. They want the pain to go away. They want the arguments to stop. And they may have been so brazen they have actually said out of frustration, we are happier without you around. They may have told you that. That was nothing but a means of acting out. Because what they need is to feel protected. What they need is to feel safe emotionally. What they need is to hear that words of encouragement saying it's going to be all right. When's the last time you told your kids you loved them? Huh? If you're not telling yourself you love you, guess what? You know you ain't telling them. Sometimes it's your actions that will speak louder than any word you possess. So I'm going to bring this all home, y'all, because I know some of y'all are tired of being tired. I know some of y'all are letting go of behaviors, and I commend you on that because I know that some of y'all are dealing with your addictions, and you know it's hard. But just know this: maybe this is the time that you will have that conversation with God. He is the key to what makes you calm. He's the one that's going to give you that inner peace and that inner knowing. He is the way. Stop worrying about what your ex-wife was doing or your ex-husband or your son's father's doing, because that is nothing but control. Those are nothing but compulsionary issues you have in yourself that you learn from the environments that you were reared in. You might have been raised in an environment where your mom was very physical, hands-on. So you may have had a good cop, bad cop makeup. I know I'm talking to someone. You ever thought maybe by chance your mom had a rough life too? She may have told you what you needed to hear, but it wasn't all. Because guess what? We all start off as babies. So with that being said, if you don't know who you are, how are you going to know where you're going? Your life should not be a trail of tears. Your life should not be just a road of disappointments and failures. Nah, that only exists because you don't know who you are or you're afraid to do something different that matters more. How about healing that beautiful heart of yours? Huh? How about going inside that mind, that beautiful mind? How about let's look at that depression that you've been dealing with since your teens? Some of y'all are dealing with post-traumatic disorder and you didn't even know it, but it's acted out in your behaviors. Or worse, you are willfully dumbing yourself down to feel accepted in a certain circle. Let me tell you what, that's not the circle you're supposed to be in. I know I'm talking to someone. Only time you interact with them is when they're pulling your pants down. Or they got you doing some things that leaves you feeling a little bit not so comfortable. Come on now. Take that price tag off your back. Queens, take that price tag off your backside. Because last time I checked, you're not livestock. But you are required to live. Because you see your girlfriend doing it, you think you're supposed to do it too? Really? And this is how you know. You'll get in a relationship with somebody, your girlfriend ain't in one, and she'll convince you to get out of yours. Why? Misery loves company. Or covertly, she wants to be you. I know I'm talking to someone. It ain't by chance you hear this. Oh, guess who I ran into? No, she waited long enough, but she already made it up in her mind what she was going to do. Is that your friend? Friends don't hurt friends. Friends grow with friends. But if God ain't in it, it ain't blessed. So let's talk about the drugs. I know I'm talking about somebody now. When are you going to go get support? You may come to realize your addiction is because there is a void you are trying to make up. And the behaviors are not so comfortable now because now you're starting to see the reality that comes with it. Oh, yes, he was nice in the beginning until he exploited you, until he did all he could. But still, he don't claim you. Still, she don't want to grow with you. You trying to build a foundation. She trying to take it down. I know I'm talking to someone. Let me tell you something. I saw these two queens. I went to dinner the other night and I heard these two queens talking. And they were talking about the burdens of being a woman, and how they long to have companionship, how they wish somebody would come into their life to love them for them. And they talked long enough and loud enough so I could hear it. So I knew indirectly they said that to see what I was going to do. But no. So what did I do? After I finished my meal, one of them decided to take it upon themselves and say, "You have a good night." I took 4 steps and I stopped dead in my tracks and I felt composed to go back. And I looked at him. I said, "Excuse me." I said, "I'm not trying to be rude, but I do have some advice for you." And she was like, "What do you mean?" He said, I overheard you telling your girlfriend how you long to have companionship and you desire the right person to be in your life. And she said, "Yeah." I said, "Look," I said, "if you hear anything I'm about to say, take this in." I said, "Number one, stop looking for your mate and prepare for them. Number two, if they don't have a relationship with God, they'll never have a relationship with themselves. And if they don't have a relationship with themselves, they'll never have a relationship with you." I know I'm talking to someone. If you think the root of happiness is found between your legs, you will always have tears. You will always have shame. You will always feel less than. It's because you are bartering your self-worth to someone who did not earn it. And guess what? God don't need your help to bring the right person into your life. Because the right person will have the keys that will open the door to the rest of your life. And they will honor you. They will show you a love unlike any that you've ever felt. Why? Because they love themselves. So they will claim you. They will honor you. But they're not going to be your parent. That's why relationships that are not blessed fall. It has to. They will continue to fail until you decide to ground your feet, to love you. How about to heal? Some of y'all have to go back 20, 30 years to remove that stone that's in your heart. You convince yourself, I don't need love. But you've been suffering ever since you said that. I know I'm talking to someone. And you're right, you're doing a good job of it because your sexual exchange has no love in it. It's carnal. That's why he treats you like a prostitute. That's why she treats you like a jar, because she don't know herself. But you know what's sad about that? Because they don't want to invest in themselves, they will never invest in you. God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your work. And for that, for that, for that, it helps me discern mine. If you treat your sexuality like the phrase, she walking with gold between her legs, you better be careful because it may be fool's gold. Love to hear from you. Like, share. But more importantly, you be blessed. Place God first in everything you do and watch what he shows you in return. You're worth it, y'all. Love to hear from you. Bye.